The most accurate adaptation of Philip Pullman's famous trilogy is finally over, and we've got a lot of questions. As much as we want a fourth season, the TV adaptation covered each book in the series, and it's pretty much covered everything from the books. In this video, we'll explain what happened in the series finale and if Lyra's prophecy came true, as well as review the last season. First off, how was the subtle knife broken? In the show, the short two-sided blade made of two different metals is a symbol of nuance and being able to tell the difference. As Lyra and her friends are being controlled by forces they can't understand, Lyra must be able to tell the difference between one thing and something that looks almost the same. One side of the knife, which was also called Sahader, could cut through anything, while the other could cut through the fabric that kept the different worlds of the multiverse apart. Will and Lyra used the subtle knife to travel between their worlds, but every time they cut a window to open a portal, a specter came up from the abyss. The angels had to close all the windows between the different worlds in the multiverse, but they thought that at least one window could stay open. Even though Lyra and Will thought it was their chance for a happy ending, they soon realized that the world of the dead still needed a window so that souls can move on. Also, people from one world couldn't live for long in another. Eventually, they realized they had to destroy the subtle knife to stop people from cutting through worlds again. Up next, Mary Malone turning into a snake. When they are in the world of the Mulefa, Mary Malone tells Lyra about her romantic love. Lyra gives in to her feelings for Will because of how sensual Mary's story is. By doing this, Lyra commits the original sin, and Mary Malone becomes the snake that tempts Eve to give in to the pleasures of the world. The smooth falling of dust shows that Will and Lyra's love awakening isn't a fall. In the same way, Mary Malone's role in helping Lyra realize and accept her feelings isn't satanic. If anything, she helps Lyra realize how much she loves him. Followed by Lyra reading the alethiometer. One of the things that makes Lyra unique is that she can understand the compass-like device that shows the truth through a complicated set of symbols. Reading the alethiometer's a skill that takes time and work to learn, but Lyra's good at it right away. By the end of the series, Lyra can't use the alethiometer anymore. In the book, Lyra asks Zephani, an angel, why she no longer has the gift. Her answer's simple but not very satisfying, implying that Lyra's ability to read the alethiometer without any training was a gift. Since she no longer has the gift, she'll have to spend the rest of her life learning how to read the compass-like device like everyone else. Now, the grace that lets Lyra read the alethiometer is connected to dust, and dust is drawn to how Lyra sees the world as a child. When Lyra goes through two of the most important parts of growing up, falling in love and discovering her sexuality, the clarity goes away. But the fact that she can figure out how the device works again shows that one can only become wise by growing up and losing their innocence. Moving on to the dust when Will and Lyra kiss. After Mary Malone plays her part as the serpent, Lyra finally admits that she feels more than just friendship for Will. This leads to the much anticipated passionate declaration of love, and as soon as the two kiss, dust stops moving and falls straight down, as it should. When Lyra realizes how she feels about Will, she makes the prophecy about her being the new Eve come true. Her love for Will and her new experience of romantic love is as strong as Eve's. Since love is the strongest force in the universe, dust returns to its natural balance and falls the way it should. To keep this balance, Will and Lyra must stop going back and forth between their worlds and close all the windows in the multiverse. This means that, even though their love changed the universe, they can't stay together. Next, Mrs. Coulter and Lord Asriel. Lord Asriel may not be the type to understand what prophecies mean, but he's always liked the idea of saving all the worlds. He soon realizes, though, that his daughter Lyra's the one who has the best chance of saving the multiverse. So, true to his vision, Lord Asriel gives his life for the greater good. Mrs. Coulter spends the whole show struggling with her complicated and deep feelings for her daughter Lyra. In the end, she gives up her life for Lyra. We expected Lord Asriel's war to be the end game because so much of Lyra's life has been based on her father's mission to save the multiverse. But his much anticipated war with Metatron and the Kingdom of Heaven was only shown in one episode. Since the season only had 8 episodes, it makes sense that the showrunners didn't go into too much detail about Lord Asriel's war. It was always about Lyra and her journey as the new Eve, whose fall restores the world's natural order instead of making God angry. Now, let's review his Dark Materials Season 3. What started out as a story about a smart young girl looking for kidnappers has grown into an epic event that spans many universes. If you know anything about Philip Pullman's book series, you would know that was always going to be the way that things went in his books. The final season of his Dark Materials is based on the epic third book in the series, The Amber Spyglass, and it goes all all in on the weirdness and complexity of that story. Season 3 has angels, flying fairy-like people, aardvarks that roll on balls, and a trip to the land of the dead. It's the most emotional and complex season of the series, which is how it should be. This isn't the kind of show you put on and listen to while doing other things. With all of its complicated multi-world building, Season 3 doesn't lose the essence of the Amber Spyglass, even if it sometimes focuses on spectacles that feel both epic and out of place for the show. The series is at its best when two characters are alone together, not to mention the cast of the show. With so much new information coming at you, the strong cast of the show's doing a lot of the emotional work. In the last season, complicated characters like Azriel and Mrs. Coulter are given more room to breathe. Their roles as former lovers, Lyra's parents, and scientists who question the role of the Authority are all expanded. McAvoy and Ruth Wilson have great chemistry on screen, which makes it fun to watch them interact. It also makes the dynamics between them stand out more. If you ever wanted to know more about these two than what you saw in the short scene at the end of Season 1, Season 3 has a lot to offer. Even without going back in time, it's easy to see what brought these two smart but Machiavellian people together. On top of that, Wilson's acting's as lively as ever, both with McAvoy and with the characters Keen and the Magisterium. The season looks at Mrs. Coulter's role as a woman in the Magisterium, as well as her role as a mother to Lyra. It also shows how she's related to her golden monkey Damon. Wilson's ability to play a complicated character who often walks the line between bad guy and anti-hero, and she does nearly a perfect job of it. Let's learn more about Will and Lyra's relationship development. After finally getting Will and Lyra together in Season 2, the third season spends a lot of time developing their relationship, which is very important to the show. Keen and Amir Wilson work well together and are able to handle some of the saddest and most intense scenes in the series with ease. If you know anything about the Amber Spyglass, you know that Will and Lyra are at the heart of the story and that the adults' war isn't where the story's emotional heart lies. We are once again reminded of how smart and funny Lyra is, but now she's balanced out by Will's bravery and determination. Coming up, exploring complicated ideas. Even though there are 8 episodes in a season, that doesn't always feel like enough. Jumping from high-minded ideas like free will and false gods to the struggles of puberty and dealing with a childhood crush can feel like getting whiplash. When you add in things like the Mulefas, which are alien aardvark people, and Mary Malone's knowledge of dust, the show can feel strange to anyone who just wants to watch it for fun. The show doesn't really hold your hand through the season, for better or worse. Concepts are explained but only briefly, and characters from other worlds are sometimes just brought in without much explanation of who they are. Some plot points from the first 2 seasons are brought up, but not in a lot of detail. This is a nice change of pace, but anyone who isn't as invested in the story may find some of the details confusing. Finally, it makes for a good adaptation. Jane Tranter and Dan McCulloch did a great job adapting the show. The Amber Spyglass is a confusing book because it's written from different points of view and in different tones and styles. The show does a good job of dealing with that without losing sight of the bigger point of the story. The series has always been about challenging the people in charge of our world and not being afraid to ask the hard questions that need to be asked. The whole season's about this message, from Azriel's determination to the prophecy about Lyra. After the series is done, there shouldn't be any question about why Pullman's books are the most banned in America. As the show comes to an end, it's a welcome addition to the world of IP and adaptations. His Dark Materials ends in a way that will make you want to cry. And on that note, that's a wrap for this video. What do you think of the way that the show ended? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.